All right. Okay. Evening, everyone. Hello. Welcome back. Back tonight, Dragon Age Inquisition, right about where we left off. I did some inventory management crap that doesn't need to happen on stream here shortly ago. So then none of that needs to bother anybody. Last we left off, we were doing some side quests and things like that for some companions. We were just finding, not that. There we go. We're finding some smugglers' letters in the Emerald Graves, and we're doing this for Cullen, which I think we're going to start off doing that once we finish some War Table stuff that I've done and unlocked and that sort of thing. Although, to be fair, first, there is, of course, the option, since we have almost maximum monies. I think a mod is screwing up with my buy and sell prices, but I've not bothered looking into it because I don't want to have to, again, I don't want to have to deal with inventory management and, like, money management on stream. So, anyway, we're probably going to go buy that mystery box from Val Royo, if you remember that from a few streams ago. Patrick says, hey, I hope you had a kick-ass February. I want to apologize, some of my comments in the earlier videos were annoying. I've been increasingly distracted of late. No problem at all. No problem at all. Also, I forgot out how long a completionist run of this game can be. Yeah. I don't think I'm planning on doing all of the collection type quests, especially because some of them just don't end. They repeat endlessly, so I'm not going to do those. I am going to try and do all of the story and companion stuff, though.
I must speak with you.
What is it?
I must explain something first about the Montiliers' fortunes.
Oh.
My family made their fortune as traders in Antiva until a scandal exiled us from Orlais some ages ago. It devastated our finances. The Montiliers have, in fact, been in debt for over 100 years.
100 years?
I had no idea your family's situation was so precarious.
Like worse than the
Hardly
United
anyone
States.
outside the family does. For generations, we've done everything to keep creditors at bay. Sold our lands to stave off interest. It is infuriating to see my family still reduced to this. I'm to become head of our house. If I sell any more of our land, my family will become destitute. That cannot be my legacy to them.
You want to miss out on the, Detrick says, you want to miss out on the epic shard storyline? For shame. Listen, I think it's a cool dungeon. Like, it's a cool area and a cool dungeon, but there's definitely no story there whatsoever. I might do, like, collecting the shards off stream, so we can still, like, explore the area and get into the dungeon and stuff like that, but yeah, I'm not going to be putting you all through me wandering around every area of the game for hours on end, collecting shards and mosaic pieces, which I may never find. I've never completed this game having found all of the mosaic pieces. Never once. I finished this game three times? Might have been 4. I think it was 3, and this is number 4, I think. And I've never once gotten all of the mosaic pieces. I have gotten all of the shards once. Maybe even twice. The mosaic pieces?
Most people worry about their next meal, never mind an estate.
I'm not blind, but I worry for my family. My foolish sister Yvette with her daydreams. My brothers trying to rebuild our fleet with their own hands. Is it wrong to hope they never know hardship?
Is there anything I can do?
Good to take responsibility.
Almost solved our problems. For a while. I negotiated a chance to reinstate the Montiliers as landed traders in Orlais. We could rebuild with that. But when I dispatched paperwork to Val Royo, I've just learned my carriers were murdered. and the documents restoring my family's trading status destroyed.
Who hates the Montiliers enough to do that?
Leliana made inquiries that bore success. Comte Boisvert, a nobleman in Valroyot, claims to know who killed my messengers. He has a request that you come when I meet him, so he's seen publicly conferring with you.
What will being seen with me gain the Comte?
The Comte will drop hints at parties he's to meet with an important visitor. Allies and rivals will take note. Once he's met you, there will be speculation. The Comte will subtly spin reports to his advantage. He will use us. But if he knows who killed my people, I ask that we indulge him.
I mean, that doesn't sound like it would be overly detrimental to the Inquisition, so I suppose that could probably be fine.
I hope the Comte isn't making up information just to be seen with me.
I will take full responsibility if that's the case, Inquisitor. I must know who killed my couriers just to harm my family.
It's a good cause, and it's another on the pile of side quests. All right. I also realized that given all of that extra cash I had laying around, there was one of the shops that basically sells influence. They're these little document packets you can buy. Just bought a bunch of them, so we have a bunch of power and Inquisition points to use. So let's do this. Great, we needed that. Okay. Pockets. Bigger pockets.
With rifts
Potion
contained in the app,
slot.
we can send in smaller groups to offer relief.
We'll
I
wait on that.
agree. Are you well?
A headache, nothing more.
Your stocks, raw materials. Friends in high places. Now, none of this gives me either experience or in-game perks, so I'll hold off on some of those. Yeah, experience from killing, rider's posture, so I don't get unmounted. I don't ride enough. 10% defense. More healing potions. Focus. Riding. I think I have enough schematics, I don't think I need this.
Any Venatori activity?
If my agents find anything, you will be the first to know.
Yeah. There. Raw materials. Rare materials. Alright, that'll do it. It's enough stuff. Alright, so this is what we left off on last time. There was this little quest up here that actually accidentally took time because my mod didn't fix that. My dear ambassador, please convey our heartfelt thanks to the Herald for the kind gift to young Baldwin. Andraste and the Wyvern is his favorite bedtime story, and the stuffed wyvern toy has already become his most favored companion. We are shocked that the news of the Inquisition's formation did not reach us for so long. We would be most interested in offering our support for the holy cause, and shall be sending an emissary directly. Cordially, Wilhelm Augustin. That's sweet. I love that. Enclosed is a drawing of young Baldwin has done of himself and the herald riding wyverns. I am to convey that his wyvern's name is Burned, and herald's is Otto. Aw, that's cute. That's adorable. I love it. Oh, that's cute. All right. Resources, alliances. Lord de Rossier is asking for additional assurances and partnerships as he drives his family through the miles of allegiances in the capital. Some houses have switched sides, others ceded holdings entirely, avoiding the shame of officially losing all standing. More and more, they are concerned with station and alliance over whatever objections they stated about the Inquisition. Yeah, so let's go with Josephine here. More agreements for future conflict, but not compromise Inquisition sovereignty. That's the smart thing. The de Rousiers are becoming a clear favorite in the war of station that is ongoing between the noble houses. The Montclairs have all but ceased to exist socially, and many are scrabbling for traditional alliances. Lady Eustace Richelieu has emerged as a strong voice at court, and is suggesting several arranged marriages to solidify ties, and presumably the standing of her house as arbiter and matchmaker. Nice. Oh, there's more. There's more. There's a contender to rival the de Rousiers. Lady Richelieu sent the following letter. The Tybalts are an upstart threat, as the daughter of Lady Velise Tybalt is set on marrying into the Leandra family. Claims that the pairing is not strategic are, of course, laughable. The Leandra name should be neutralized in some fashion for the brokering of a more profitable pairing. Eustace Richelieu. Simple matter to marginalize Leander name along with our among our potential allies. The marriage is strategic. It will be very quickly be all but worthless in the greater name of status. The game to oppose us now depends on our involvement. Demand the Leander's exclusion from court, or we withdraw involvement. Ooh, no, we don't want to play that hardball. No, let's not play that hardball. Let's play the game like it's the game. Receive word from Lady Eustace Richelieu, who presumes more and more to speak for the de Rousiers. She is also quick to use us and we. Josephine, Lady Richelieu's letter follows. The Leanders are marginalized, although still active. A gracious act, but we will have to be more aggressive in the future if we are to encourage Lady Velise Tybalt to pair her daughter wisely. A proper matchmaking can solidify a great deal of power. Eustace Richelieu. Alright, done with that one. Resources? No, not yet. Not at this time. Reparations for Redcliffe. I'm pleased that we were able to work together for the betterment of the people of Redcliffe, Arling. The Andraste watch over you. Tegan Garin. Nice. So that did work out well. We sent soldiers to help with repairing and rebuilding. Oh, the Arl's invitation. Ambassador. I apologize for any unpleasantness that might have arisen from my last correspondence with the Inquisition. My people have been under tremendous strain for too long, even before the destruction of the Conclave, and it has taken its toll on all of Redcliffe Arling. That is in the past. Today I write to offer an invitation to the Inquisition. The Banorn of Callan is part of my domain and now lies empty. Ban Alara lost her life attending the Conclave. Only her only living relative holds lands too far away to administer both. By Ferelden custom, the lands are now the property of whomever claims them through skill of arms. A tournament will be held at Callan, it's Ferelden, with the victor taking the title as their prize. That's real Ferelden. That's very Ferelden. The Inquisition may send a champion to fight in the melee if you wish. We can't truly run a Banorn, but a well-chosen envoy could win us Ferelden allies. Or we could send a champion. It may not be wise to win, however. Ferelden's hold grudges. Heck yeah. Let me make sure that I don't need Cullen for anything else. Doesn't look like it. Oh, maybe we do here. Okay. No, we need Josephine here. This is the thing about the fake Hard and Hightown sequel linked to a serial killer in Hightown. So, alright. Yeah, letter to Denerim. Get the cipher from the Merchants Guild. Are you still skipping out on meetings? You'd have a copy of this already if you showed up once in a while. Not that I mind. I'm happy enough to trade you a worthless piece of parchment for 1,000 crown debt, Jarek. A note has been added to the bottom in another hand. Message deciphered. Translation follows. My name is Veric Tethris, and I'm a Bronto-licking backstabber who steals customers. Scrivener. Scandalous. A worthy dwarf. Ruffles, Nightingale. Various agents named after crummy jobs. Thanks for looking into this bullshit mess for me. Based on what you've told me, there's only one person I can think of who specifically uses Bronto liquor as an insult and also can't write worth a damn. Worthy. An acquaintance of mine from Kirkwall. Although why you do all this, I have no idea. I owe you all drinks. Varric. I remember Worthy. Worthy was the dwarven enchanter, who I think we replaced with Sandal. Give the information to the Kirkwall Guard. After Worthy ourselves and question him about how he infiltrated Skyhold. No, let's let Aveline take care of it.
Inquisitor?
The city of Kirkwall is grateful for the information that led to the arrest of Worthy to the dwarf. He's in guard custody now. His statement upon being arrested was, "I would have gotten away with it if it weren't for those meddling inquisitors." We're taking this as a confession. Viscount Bran. Why is Bran the Viscount? That was the sniveling little attendant in the last game. All right, let's go win ourselves a championship in 1 minute or so. So the thing we got to do next is go back to the Emerald Graves, Elven Ruins, Elven Glyphs. Things we'll do eventually. I don't know if we're actually going to do that tonight. We'll see. Let's just wait the rest of this minute. So anyway, while I do that, my spring break is next week, which is going to be very nice. Time off. A lot of which I'm going to be spending grading papers, because I actually have a paper due right in the beginning of spring break for everybody, for my classes. So I'm going to be spending... Oh, pardon me. Gosh, long week leading up to spring break. A long week of talking very fast. I got behind a bit on my class schedule and what I was planning on teaching. So today was a mad dash. There we go. A mad dash to get finished stuff I already have a pre-recorded lecture for. In fact, it's the lecture on solving the problem of evil. I'll put it in the description if you haven't seen it. It was a great class. All three of them were fantastic, but it was very difficult, making sure to keep on topic for once and actually get an amount of it, of content actually done in a finite amount of time, which is not something let me just say this: planning out a class is not exactly my strongest suit. Talking about stuff and conveying the information and actually delivering it is much more my focus. We were talking about primarily solutions for the problem of evil, and especially for the evidential problem of evil from William Rowe. And there's an answer to this. There's one theodicy, a solution presented to this this puzzle that doesn't, I think, get enough academic attention. To the extent that some of the better academic treatments I can find of it are from Trent Horn, who is an apologist, I mean, he's an MA in philosophy, but not a philosophy professor, not a professional philosophy writer. He doesn't write academic treatises or anything like that. And in fact, probably his best presentation of this particular theodicy is in a debate he had a year or so ago with an atheist YouTuber and philosopher, Cosmic Skeptic. I'll put a link to that debate as well in the description that I'm probably going to rewatch at some point too, because they actually go into the William Rowe's version of the problem of evil, and especially the problem of animal suffering and how we can reconcile that with a perfectly good God, where the free will defense, the classic free will defense, doesn't really apply. So again, I'll happily go through more of that if that's an interesting topic for everybody. But talked about it a lot today, and like I said, I also have a video on it. So rather be talking about something else now on the stream where you get me fresh and right here. By all means, either way. All right, Commander. The grand melee went well enough. We did not win at Bannorn, but Byrony, placed high enough to attract the attention of half the lords in Ferelden. Also, she received 9 offers of marriage and 6 job offers. Oh, we might need to give her a raise. Captain Ryland. Jesus. All right. 9 offers of marriage. Good lord. All right. Why not? Resources. Pyrophyte.
Inquisitor.
Why not? All right. Let's get out of here. All right. Let's just leave the conventional way. Never actually go out the gate and across the bridge to leave. So let's do it. Anyway.
The soldiers make me nervous. Sitting around here, tempers get short, and fighting. I saw one soldier
That
reach for
is
himself
something.
like he was gonna...
All right. Back to Emerald Graves. What's all this then? Shards? Oh god, shards. Of course it's shards. That's a thing we're gonna have to check out. That's where we need to go next. So let's go to Riatha's Steps. This is basically where we left off last time. And we'll bring... No, not Dorian. Let's bring Varric. Let's bring... Blackwall. Let's bring Vivienne. Our usual gang. That'll be fine. We don't really... I don't think we need anyone special here for plot reasons or anything like that. So... Restwood is a small village of no real consequence to the lords and ladies who ride on their... It's been a long day. Oh, gosh. Anyway, like I said, though, it's... I actually did catch up to exactly where I want to be just in time for spring break. We finished exactly what I want to finish. We finished talking about arguments for God's existence. We talked about the problem of evil. And that's going to lead us right at the end, after spring break, to talking back again some more about religious epistemology. The idea of how it is and how it is that we justify the beliefs that we hold, and what is the right way to come to beliefs, rather than what is the right thing to believe. We have been talking about metaphysical questions, arguments for and against God's existence, what is the nature of reality, what's the nature of the divine, and what can we know about that. Whereas, by contrast, the there we go. The epistemological side of things is less about what is it that we can know, like what's the truth about reality and about the world, and much more so about how do we know it, and what are the kinds of things that we can know. Okay, let's do this. Oh, they're gonna blast me, aren't they? There we go. I hate these despair demons. They're awful. There we go. Okay, we're going back. Here, let's just do the cool thing. It's cool thing time. We haven't done the cool thing yet. There we go. That does it. Alright, that was pretty cool. We have a focus meter for a reason this time. It's empty now, though, I think. How do I tell? I actually don't know how I can tell what my focus is at. I'm used to it being along the top. But that's if I'm using mouse and keyboard. I actually don't know where it sits now. Oh well. Probably fine. I'll figure it out. Okay. Alright. Let's go. Oh, it's this little fortressy thing. Oh, I forgot to equip more potions. I can do that. Well, I'll get to it eventually. Alright. So, what's down there? What's down here? Oh, no. This is a whole big thing. That's a whole big ordeal that I'm not going to get into right now. There's a thing there. I'm going to have to come back to it. Anyway, I always look forward to the epistemology section, even though it's not it is far from my area of specialization. It's always fun and always fascinating to talk about in class. In part just because it forces students to question their thinking and to re-examine things that they thought were obvious. All the more so than the metaphysical kinds of questions. That said, the metaphysical kinds of questions do force a lot of reconsideration of things, but that's only because our current sort of modernist paradigm is so goofy. Because the modernist paradigm is so goofy, it's... Hold on. There we go, so we can see this, what the shape is supposed to look like. Oh, welcome, Kevin. Prayers and greetings, pleasant Lent to you as well. Welcome. So we've got to do this horse constellation, and I'll talk while I do this, but typically, when I blow students' minds with metaphysics, or even with logic, it's because they believe something stupid. But don't worry, because it's not their fault they believe something stupid. Most modern contexts of a lot of things are just kind of stupid. I think, yeah. So that's perfectly understandable. Like I said, most of the times that I'd say something that's like utterly paradigm shaking, it's because the paradigm that somebody was working within was dumb, that it didn't make sense. Because our weird modern paradigm is so radically different from any reasonable and comprehensible way of understanding the world. Equinor. And so, in those cases, it's something that I'm actually teaching, which is, mind-blowing and odd and unexpected. This is in fairly stark contrast. That's a big bear. I barely did a thing to that. Jesus. Okay, come on. This is in contrast to epistemology, when I blow minds in epistemology, it's because there is not a misunderstanding, not that they understand the world incorrectly, but it's more like they hadn't thought through their own ideas yet. And so they might have reasonable ideas, but those ideas are unjustified. Because they're unjustified, what that means, functionally, is that there needs to be more careful thought put into them to understand why it is that we hold the beliefs that we do. And so you can have your mind totally blown in an epistemology lecture without actually changing your mind. And that's the fun and interesting part. You almost survived that encounter. Sorry, Nug. Anyway. But yeah, that's there they are. That is one of those things that is really interesting about teaching philosophy, just in general, is the blowing of minds, is forcing students, so to speak, to rethink things they don't ordinarily think of, or think of things in terms of epistemology, especially thinking of things in ways that they don't ordinarily think of it. Like, thinking things through carefully. That's new and different and strange. The Master Kells. The new client wants double the red lyrium shipped last time. The contact said it was for someone called Samson. I met him during the last trip, got a Templar feel off of him, although the armor he wears doesn't look chantry. Still, his coin's good, and he doesn't preach. Toby.
Another letter on the smugglers referring to Samson.
Toby, red lyrium. Erica, I'm assuming it's a different Toby. But you never know. Never know. Being on the hunt. I have hunger. Yeesh. Alright. Erica says, doing prayers. Have a full rosary to do. Evan says, that's the main one I'm doing. Plus prayers for increased vocations. It's always good. Good one to do. I've been, as my Lenten practice, I've been picking up the morning and evening Liturgy of the Hours. Sorry, not morning and evening. I've actually been doing Lauds and Compline. Primarily because I usually have my... Compline is not meant to be evening prayer exactly. It's meant to be in the middle of the night. So often, this was traditionally in the Middle Ages. This was when one would wake up for night's watch, to wake up in the middle of the night, in between first and second sleep. One would pray Compline, or a monk at least would pray Compline. This has evolved into us in the modern period just staying up late and then praying in the middle of the night anyway, which is what I've been doing. I've been praying the Compline before bed, basically. And Lauds in the morning, no matter what time I wake up, whether that is the appropriate time, as was this morning at about 7:30. Compline's technically at 6, or Lauds technically at 6, but no one wakes up that early, unless you are a monk. Yeah, got him. Go. So in either case, it's either way, it's I've talked to some monks about this, and that Lauds is appropriate upon waking. So whenever that happens to be, if you're not on a very specific, monastic schedule, waking up at, if you're not waking up in time for the morning prayer at 6, then you can still. When you wake up is still the appropriate time, in that case, to pray Lauds. God, this stupid thing. These stupid despair demons. Okay, let's just do that. There we go. Good start. I can't do that. Okay. getting hurt pretty bad here. There we go. Is that all of them? No, there's one more. That's it. Here we go. Why did Varric put the fallback lantern directly in the middle of combat? That's not cool. Kevin says, honestly, I should have been doing the rosary beforehand, but I'm a slouch and terrible Catholic. I mean, I don't often pray a full rosary. If I do, I usually pray a decade, and it's usually something specific at a specific time for specific reasons and whatnot. No, that's going to be well out of our way, so we're just going to take this road up to the next camp. Because going up there for the rift is going to be a pain. Beatrix has provided someone who's open-minded and willing to reflect. Both metaphysical and epistemological discussions can be very rewarding. Oh yeah, couldn't agree more. Especially in my philosophy of religion class, which is what I'm teaching this semester, all three of them. We do both. It's split about 60-40 this semester between metaphysics and epistemology. We don't really approach ethics except in terms of moral psychology, insofar as it affects salvation theory and the fall and stuff like that. Wolganon's Bastion. I don't know where that is. I'll keep an eye out. But yeah, I greatly enjoyed both kinds of discussions. Metaphysics, and especially metaethics, the sort of natural law reasoning that gives rise to ethics, is more my actual professional specialization. It's what I know best, and what I'm probably best at explaining. But epistemology can be a lot more fun, especially with gen ed undergrads. Erica says, I picked up that as well, at least the evening one, on top of the rosary from Vince. Also, the rosary isn't obligatory for Catholics. Just really couldn't give anything up. It meant being pregnant, allied, extremely pregnant, at the whims of whatever my appetite suddenly demands. Also, I have a real problem praying. Here's something you can talk about. I have a problem praying anything other than Thy will be done, because I don't like literally asking for literally anything, because God isn't a candy dispenser. Yeah. I agree.
Nothing to report, sir.
I think that's correct. I'll come back to this. Kevin says it's not obligatory, but important in light of Fatima. True. But again, that's non-definitive, and it may not wind up being a sort of obligation for all Catholics, or even a responsibility for all Catholics. That can be a specific calling, a specific vocation, let's say. Is it theirs? Yeah. That's going to be hard to get to. Get to that quarry first.
Got one for you, Varric. Best tavern name you've ever seen. I'm torn between the bed and bucket and the bottom of the barrel.
Goose and gander.
Oh, that's a tough one. I think I have to go with the neighbor's house for sheer balls.
That one's clever. Erica says, I don't ask for anything for myself and others because I feel like I'm demanding things. I feel more comfortable asking the saints to pray for me because at least they'll mean it when they pray. Though that's only slightly helpful. They still shrug and chalk it up at the end to Thy will be done. I mean, really though, there's something to that. Augustine said that all intercessory prayer, so prayer for things, should ultimately boil down to Thy will be done. And so if it's just that, if that's the full intention, it's not like that's necessarily wrong or bad or a misunderstanding. That can be the right way to approach prayer, and I think to a degree it is, and that's even if we are going to go beyond that. That is something that we ought to keep in mind. It's that whatever we might want or ask for, if it is God's will for us to have it, then the intercessory prayer has two functions. One, it is to conform our will to God, to consider what it is that we are praying for, and consider whether that is the kind of thing that we ought to ask God to deliver us. And if it is, then our prayer for it is a kind of "Thy will be done." We are aligning our will to God's.
These statues, they have to mean something, right?
Oh, hi, bear. I didn't see you coming there, bear. Giant bear. This thing's huge. God. Oh, wait, no. I don't want to do that. I want to mark it. Ow. Oof. Okay. Wow. Big bears. Erica says, I guess that's why I find prayer groups really skeevy to me, or praying over with other people, like they really believe they'll get what they ask for instead of just accepting whatever comes in life. It's uncomfortable. The other aspect of it is the, I don't want to reduce it to this, but something like the building of the bonds of Christian community. When we pray for each other, when we pray for our brothers and sisters. Oh, giants. Giants. This is going to be real fun. Why is my... Oh, my controller's vibrating because there's a giant walking. Interesting. That makes perfect sense now that I think about it. Get him. Ah! But a lot of prayer for someone else's needs can be a kind of, I mean, understanding it's not going to change God's mind. It is part of God's will that we might pray for each other, that we come together in our prayers. Ow. How I could block that. I love that giants in this game aren't just big people. They're elephantine monsters. Please don't be another bear. No, that's not another bear. Good. Got him. All right. Says, I don't know. I think the scriptures, including Jesus, indicate that it's proper to make petitions of what we want. Oh, there's another one. Oh my God. For what we want, provided it be godly or at least wholesome. Ask anything in my name. And that's true. There is the real danger, though, of intercessory prayer, which presumes to know better than God. That's where it really becomes a problem. I don't think that most pious Christians are in danger of that. But certainly a lot of the, like, name it and claim it kind of Christians might be. Eric says, like, I feel really weird when people ask for prayers in groups and usually don't say anything. Meanwhile, everyone is just doing prayers for them, and I feel like I'm rude just saying God's will be done on a post. Or, oh, here he comes. Okay, I need to finish reading this because I need to catch up with the chat. Prayers for a job or something serious sounds more like, well, God might just make you suffer, but that's His will. Well, even though that's not what it is. Yeah. So I mean, there's the other. God be with you. Praying for someone. God accompany you in this struggle, to be by your side. That's another aspect of intercessory prayer. That is both to God and also for the person involved, to unite not only not to bring God's will upon their objectives and goals, but to unite their will and God's will. Kevin says, plus St. James speaks of ye have not because ye ask not. I'm not used to King James, sorry. Also, St. Paul talks about interceding for one another in various things, including healing and reconciliation. It's true. But again, like Eric is saying as well, and like Augustine said, we have to be careful that we're not trying to presume that we know better than God in situations like this. Eric says, I always like the response to that. You can ask for anything in my name, but most of the time the answer is going to be no. Yeah. Maybe it's because I come from agnosticism, but I'm super suspicious of people like St. Paul Street Evangelization is a big one, making weekly posts about how they prayed over people and they healed someone on the spot. Yeah, look, there are miracles. They happen. But I have the same position of skepticism with respect to everyday, day-to-day, on-the-street miracles that the Catholic Church has, which is prove it. I'll buy it once there's documented proof. Fine. But until then, I'm color me skeptical. Detrick says, I generally treat prayers asking for something as a break glass in case of emergency scenario. Almost always in a near life or death moment. I don't want to be greedy. I mean, even in a case like that, it's where it's not like you're saving up your prayer energy. Rather, I actually find intercessory prayer to be better used as something constant, where one is constantly aligning one's will to God and constantly becoming familiar with God's will in kind of conversationary intercessory prayer, rather than saving it up until the big ask. You don't ask for anything throughout the year until you can ask for that really, really big birthday present. Maybe mom and dad will get it for you, kind of thing. Not to be too dismissive, but that's we should avoid thinking of it like that, I think. Erica says, I'm 100% expecting to never have another son again. Oh man, I hope not. We need at least one to carry the name and one to be a priest. Come on. I'm guessing. Now, I'm not calling his vocation at 1.5 years old. But if he becomes a priest, I won't be surprised. Just saying. He's got the very even, nice temperament. Other than today. Today he was beating the crap out of everyone. So maybe not. Priest, MMA fighter, what's the difference? They can align with each other. Erica also says, because I prayed for it, and like heck am I going to ask for another one, like I deserve it. Also, I 100% believe documented miracles that have gone through the scrutiny. Otherwise, nah. Yeah, and that's pretty much where I am, and I think that's really where we probably ought to be in terms of carefully examining the supernatural. The supernatural is very, very real, but whoa, what was that? Blackwall, is that you? Oh. go. There we go. This also, by the way, the super monstrous, like, elephantine giants is also an allusion to the ancient Greek myths that elephant skulls were giant skulls. Were giant cyclops skulls with the tusks and with the apparent one eye, which is really for the trunk. Last letter. Among the papers taken from the Red Lyrium smugglers in the Dales is a note from the ringleader to his lieutenants. Beware that Red Lyrium. Our mage claims it's much more potent than the blue. Like serving brandy in an ale tankard, he said. 2 nights later, he went crazy, frothing and screaming. We had to lock him in the warehouse. Looks like Lyrium madness, but comes on faster. It's not all bad. Our new client, Samson, has his agents buying anyone who gets sick. For gold. When they bought the mage, I asked why. Samson's people said to make something better of him. For what they're paying, he must have something bloody spectacular lined up. Maybe the men, have the men be extra careful around the crates. Tell me if any of them come down sick. Keep the why to yourselves.
Another letter mentioning Samson, and papers with names. Cullen could use this.
Yeah. Kevin says, I'm probably a little more apt to be supportive of miraculous healing because those things are seen commonly among the church in Acts and really throughout the history of the church. Yes, but I mean, we also ought to be careful to not to over-attribute it. Yeah, let's go Hail of Arrows. And then to the death. Increases your guard. Oh my god. No, it increases your guard. Heck yeah. That's awesome. Vivienne. Love me some fire magic. There. Yeah, we have to be careful not to Oh, a dragon. Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. We'll do a dragon hunt night. One night of the stream, when all we do is hunt dragons. How's that sound? There's a rift over there we gotta get to. Gotta get to this. Actually, you know what? Yeah, we gotta go these first, and then we'll come over to the rift. How about that? Or the, over the camp. One night we'll just do dragons. Just dragons. Eric says Blackwall just flinging giants like they're tiny paperweights. Yeah, that was impressive. That was really cool. Detrick says he's so much better as a warrior than Bull. It's not even competition. Oh my god. Cassandra's competition, because she does better damage while still being able to tank, but no one comes anywhere close to Blackwall in terms of just drawing aggro and soaking up damage. It is so ridiculous. Look at his guard right now. Like, look at his guard up there. It's maxed out. It's almost never not maxed out. It is almost always he's at max guard. Kevin says, I do sympathize with skepticism due to there being a problem with charlatans and charismatic circles. But I also have a lot of optimism because God has desired to heal a ton of people. That is true. I mean, you're right. There's a lot of optimism to be had, and there are a lot of miracles that are like we were saying, verifiable, straightforwardly. And verified. Not just verifiable, but verified. That isn't just limited to, say, the time of Acts, or biblical times, whatever you want to call it. That is, like, current... I don't know about current year. I don't know if there has been an officially documented miracle in literal current year, but... Like, I wouldn't... But, let me put it this way, I would not be entirely surprised. Come on. There it is. Now I can target the rage demon. Ow, zappy. There we go. Yeah, it's easy to think of the supernatural as odd and out there and something other than here and now. There we go. And close it. Hello. There it is. Nope. There it is. There we go. Okay. But I do think that we should be more open to the miraculous than we tend to be, even as Christians in our society. We've taken the materialist pill, or maybe the deist pill, one of those. Really taken it too hard, and I think it's greatly and negatively affected our ability to understand the world. On paper, there's once a sister from Sud, begging alms as a chanter girl should. Though she would take gold or clothes for the cold, she looked first for offers of. It seems the logger was unable to finish his poem. Anyway, I'll let you finish it if you want. Sounded inappropriate, though. It says, I think it's a healthy thing to be both optimistic and hopeful in petitions, and also simultaneously sensitive to the divine will and realize it's up to God and he knows best. Yeah, there's a tension there. There's a very obvious tension between those two. And it's something that we need to be careful of on both ends. We don't want to reject the reality of we don't want to reject the immanence of God any more than we want to reject the wisdom and the transcendence of God. Both of these are key, crucial aspects of the divine, and then of our relationship to the divine. Really, I can't block that. I'm annoyed. And I mean, really, if we think of it in let's say slightly different terms. Oops. Ow, come on. Got bapped. Alright. There's one left, and it's this bear demon way over there. Take care of that eventually. There we go. Got it. Even thinking in terms of
I cannot understand, Varric, how someone born into wealth and power would choose to live like a peasant.
Let's be fair. I live like a rich peasant.
You ignore your peers and spend your time among laborers and criminals in taverns.
I wish. These days, it's all outposts and marching.
You know perfectly well what I mean, darling.
Look, all those things you like about nobility, power, wealth, notoriety, those are the things I hate about it.
You have very peculiar tastes.
Just wait until you meet my friends.
Yeah, all of the companions from Dragon Age 2 are just freaking weirdos. Next says, reminds me of lecturing I listened to, reconciling determinism and fatalism. Swearing that circle is easier said than done. So I don't know if that's precisely what you meant, because it could be, but that would be strange. Do you mean determinism and free will, or do you mean determinism and fatalism? Because most people don't put those at odds with each other. I'm just going to let that bear just kind of go about its business, if it doesn't mind letting me do likewise. Because if you mean determinism and fatalism, those are, like, most people think of those as synonymous, but I wouldn't. I would hold those to be two different things. Even if a lot of people wouldn't. I think that the more common discussion is determinism and free will. And on that matter, I will obviously very wholeheartedly point to Anselm's 3 philosophical dialogues. I have a series of lectures on freedom of choice, and I have another series of lectures on the fall of the devil, both of which deal with this issue very, very in depth, very specifically, and very carefully in a rather complex manner. So it's a lot of it is you do need to go get a little bit careful in how you outline this. But if you do mean free or determinism and fatalism, like I said, that's its own separate set of questions that a lot of people, like I said, will think initially are the same thing. There we go. Jesus. Okay, so free will and fatalism. Okay. Yeah, like I said, if that is the distinction that you're looking at, like I said, I very, very highly recommend looking at Anselm's philosophical dialogues, especially the latter two. So the second and third one on freedom of choice and on the fall of the devil. The first one, which is on truth, is great, don't get me wrong, but it's less relevant. It's more of a background information for the other two. These stupid things. Okay. There, let's do this. But if we do want to, you'll get me sidetracked on this, and that's fine. But Kevin says the Our Father really has been all present for us to contemplate. Both petitions and prostration of our will before God, or will to God's will. Sorry. But I think, yeah, that is true. It does both, and it does them both well, and it does them both in a combination, right? It combines them. It doesn't just have, it doesn't just have them sort of sitting next to each other. They're linked well and closely together. Come on, really. No, we can do this. Come on. All right. God, that was nasty. All right. Kevin says, I love the point that Vince has made in the past about being able to choose between ideas prior to actions. And also something Peterson has said regarding greater freedom at more distant times of the act. And I think to his point, like I've spoken to that, to the point that you mentioned that I've made before. I've spoken to that plenty and extensively, but to Peterson's point, I think that's absolutely correct, and that speaks to something else I've mentioned and talked about before in a different way, which is that virtue is habit. It's habit of character. It is our guarded. It is our ability to choose to do something. There's a lot of giants. Maybe I shouldn't stay here. Especially not with this health, this level of health. Hey, come on. I'll claim as many of these as I can before I run away. But yeah, it's that people will often talk about choice in terms of choosing in the moment. Well, what if something just kind of happens and you have to act on instinct and you don't have the chance to deliberate and to think things through very carefully? Is that still a free choice? And I would say yes, absolutely, but of a different sort. I would say that it was your free choice not to prepare your mind and your spirit and your virtue for a situation like this. That you absolutely can prepare for these sorts of things in advance, and well in advance. Like Peterson has said, that you can make these decisions well in advance. Such that you can get to the point where you will act correctly on instinct, morally and ethically and prudentially correctly, in accordance with all of the virtues, if you have mentally and spiritually and habitually prepared oneself to a sufficient degree. Now, the degree to which you should do this, what degree is sufficient, will probably depend on what kind of action it is, how likely it is to occur, and how important it is if it does occur. This is why we ought to be more prepared for likely things and also important things than for unimportant and unlikely things. We all probably had a zombie plan. At least I and all of my friends did when I was in like high school and college. We all had a zombie plan. What do you do if there's a zombie outbreak? This isn't good. Okay, worth a try. What do you do if there's zombies? And we all put a lot of thought and effort into figuring this out. Of course, it's important, maybe, but the likelihood of it actually happening is next to zero. It's close enough to zero to not matter. So don't put that kind of preparation into a zombie plan. Do put that level of preparation, say, into planning to encounter a challenge to one's deeply held beliefs, for example. Something like that. That's something that you're very likely to encounter and is very important. And if you know how to handle it, say in advance, broadly speaking, then you're going to handle it well if and when it occurs, right? If and when the event arises, you're going to be able to handle it well if you've prepared for it, both mentally and habitually. Whether that is through going through mental preparations or mental rehearsal, or if that's through acting on and performing similar actions in relevantly similar contexts. How do I get up there? I was just up there. Crap. I should have done the astrarium before I jumped down, shouldn't I? I'll figure it out. I need to go take a rest at the camp. For some reason, Vivienne is hurt. I need to get back up there, but I don't know how. I'll figure it out. It says habituated sins or selfish behavior have neurological impacts that literally lessen freedom. Yeah, absolutely. Everyone has always known this until the modern period when we dispensed with virtue theory in favor of, I don't even know. In favor of, the other theories of virtue, or the other theories of ethics, to a degree, but even that, nothing coherent, nothing clear and systematic. The closest thing you get to a systematic set of understanding of not just ethics but action theory and moral psychology all lumped into one. The closest you get is Kant. And even that is not nearly as systematic as classical virtue theory to anywhere near the same degree. So, sort of Kantian deontology and the idea of the good, the moral imperative, as being the categorical imperative, and then also relevantly the moral imperative having to do with, oh god, how do I do this one? This is a pain. The moral imperative having to do with the embracing of the good at the expense of the selfish, specifically at the expense of the selfish, which, I mean, honestly, isn't that different from a lot of ancient ideas. It's just the characterization of it is very different. So if I just kind of follow this in order, maybe it'll work. If I start here, I go there, no. There, no. I go there. No. Yeah, that'll work. Okay. Oh, crap. How did I do that? So if I start here, I do this. Do this. Ready? Ah, there we go. That was a hard one. That was good. That was a good one. All right, let me drag myself back down here. Right. Solium. Sun. There's still one more. Where was it? We can do this while we're right here, and then we'll heck out. Go back to camp. Make sure we got that quarry. All right. Anyway, one of the on a similar note that I want to mention, just because Detrick brought it up, and because it's what you said but not what you meant, and that made me think of something interesting. The dichotomy or the distinction between determinism and fatalism. Again, that's not a typical dichotomy, but it's one that I would make.
Bastard. Wore blinding white armor. Told me my shots veered left.
I can see how that describes me perfectly.
It was just all that niceness. He was just so nice.
Bastion.
Nice. Right. I take it you didn't like this person.
Sebastian would have taken that as a compliment.
Sebastian. There we go. Quest done. All right, let's go. There's a quest up here to pick up, I guess, and a landmark while we're here. I'm guessing we're going to get into a massive combat the moment we wander in here, but whatever. Let's see. Lion's Pavilion. A lover's promise. Elena, if you found this and are still at the pavilion, leave immediately. As I passed, I saw a band of armed men close by. I fear they may attack innocent travelers. Meet me instead in the old grove in Gracevine, where the prophet's laurel grows. Your love, Dayan. No. No, what's this now? What if I light all these? What's that happen? What's it do? Is it going to summon demons? I bet it's going to summon demons. Let's see. No, it's just... They go out. Is there an order to it or something ridiculous like that? There is. Fine. Let's go there. Patrick says, interesting. I've always assumed a leadership role in times of crisis. Where are we? Oh, yeah. I've always taken that as innate rather than born from learned knowledge or born from preparedness. Yeah, it's not necessarily, though. It can perfectly well be kind of I don't know if I would say necessarily a kind of preparedness, because it isn't necessarily.
Nothing to report.
Preparedness in this context is somewhat different from, like, preparedness in terms of getting things ready to do something. The kind of preparedness I'm talking about is a kind of mental fortitude, a mental preparedness. Okay, I already got this. Fine, whatever. Developing the right habits so that you will naturally act in the way that you know that you ought to. Like, objectively speaking, you know that you ought to. Dedrick says that perhaps I overlooked something or took some preparedness in the past for granted. That's something to think about. And again, if you're not careful with it, especially, the development of virtue and vice, or any habit really, can be subconscious. If you are acting rightly and making a habit out of acting rightly, it's going to become a habit, and it's going to become a virtue, whether you want it to and you're attempting to or not. It's just how it works. It's how the mind works. It's how the soul works. Erica says, I don't know, I basically don't have any ability taking charge or starting conversations or anything social, but immediately take charge in an emergency. It's true. I don't really take charge in an emergency. What are we fighting? A nug? Why are we fighting a nug? Did a nug attack us? No. Stop this. The Lover's Promise. Summerstone. That's all? Really? That's what... Ah, spider! Why is there a spider? Why is there a spider? Came out of nowhere. Oh, it had a wedding ring. That makes a great deal of sense. So, it ate one or both of them. Great. Yeah, I oddly, primarily because of vices that I have, primarily a kind of plodding slowness combined with a general tendency towards careful and methodical action, let's say. If we were to put this in terms of the classical virtues, it would be a kind of somewhere in between sloth and cowardice that often will prevent me from taking charge and acting immediately, especially in an emergency situation. I don't have the immediate jump into action instincts that braver people do. And again, it fits my mannerisms and it fits my role in life as a sort of mild-mannered academic, and all that's fine. But it's something that that I recognize as a significant flaw in myself. Erica says, but I had someone introduced to me today that I should have had a little rapport with, and I just awkwardly stared at them and smiled and didn't make any conversation at all. Huh. I assume I wasn't there? Yeah, it's a skill that like anything else, really, like any other kind of habit. It's a skill that just can perfectly well go undeveloped, and there's nothing that should be terribly surprising about that. You know, let's sell some things, let's do some stuff like that. Don't need that. What's this? Yeah. Nah. 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 Okay. Okay, today. Yeah, that makes sense. That was work. That was true. That makes sense. All right, let's go talk to Cullen, as we need to.
Inquisitor.
To do that, let's go through that way, because that's quicker route. That's more direct. Via Solus's little chamber. Continue this. Let us see.
I wanted to thank you. When you came to see me, if there's anything... This sounded much better in my head.
I trust you're feeling better?
Yes.
Is it always that bad?
The pain comes and goes. Sometimes I feel as if I'm back there. I should not have pushed myself so far that day.
Erica. Ah! Wrong thing. That's what I meant. Anyway.
I'm just glad you're all right.
I am. I've never told anyone what truly happened to me at Ferelden's Circle. I was... not myself after that. I was angry. For years, that anger blinded me. I'm not proud of the man that made me. Now I can put some distance between myself and everything that happened. It's a start.
For what it's worth, I like who you are now.
Even after...
I'm serious.
What about you? You have troubles of your own. How are you holding up?
I've met good people here. Knowing they have my back, it helps.
You certainly keep interesting company. I suppose I do as well.
Nice. All right. Very nice. So, a thought on... thought back a moment. On what in the world? An axe embedded in the bedpost. That's very strange. Okay. Unlike Curse of Strahd, who has no friends. She has tons of friends. She collects them like candy. It's just we are currently in a horrible place with where friends either are what would be the term? Not here, or resentful. So it's Curse of Strahd, man. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Unwilling friends. No, Dante was willing at first. Now he's unwilling to be present there. Still okay being friends. It's just he just doesn't want to be here and doesn't want to live. But he definitely doesn't want to die in Barovia, because that would be worse. Anyway. All right, let's see if we can actually advance the quest, other than a nice
The
little scene.
smugglers we interrogated gave up the Red Templars' main source of red lyrium, Inquisitor.
Nice.
It's located in the Dales, near a town called Sarnia. Destroying the mine there will cripple Samson's operations.
Erica says, friends are people who will drop everything and drive out to help you at 2 a.m. To a degree, yeah. But also, if possible and if necessary, I think would. But there's limits to that as well. And I think being in Barovia is one of them. But I think Sable has 1 or 2 friends who might show up at her funeral. One might even say a good word for her. Oh, I don't know. She might have a few more than that, including, family back home too. But it's not friends; it's family, regardless. Let's see.
Excellent work, Commander. I'll investigate the mine.
Destroying the Red Templars' source of lyrium will be a loss Samson won't soon forget.
Nice. New major quest. But yeah, honestly, Curse of Strahd is not a campaign to make friends, to do anything but have your character fall apart, basically. Which I'm realizing now after having run it, or most of it. Also including her current party, who are not her friends. Yeah, maybe. Zook is friendly but not dedicated. Roscoe is dedicated but not friendly. And Farron is neither. So yeah. Let's see. Anything else new?
First the Templars, now the Grey Wardens. Both devoted their lives to fighting evil. Now they serve it.
They were so desperate to destroy their supposed enemies, they did not see the one standing before them.
A mistake I've made before and wish not to repeat. The Inquisition must serve as an example. We must stand where others fall.
You and the Red Templars leader seem to have personal history.
When I arrived in Kirkwall, Samson and I shared quarters. He seemed a decent man at first. Knight Commander Meredith later expelled Samson for erratic behavior. He ended up begging on Kirkwall streets. He committed further crimes, but managed to evade the Order's justice. Now Samson serves Corypheus as his loyal general.
Why do you think Samson joined Corypheus?
He had a chronic lyrium addiction. He spent every last coin buying it from local smugglers. Perhaps Corypheus flattered his vanity, gave him purpose as well as lyrium. Perhaps that's all it took.
It sounds like Samson had a miserable life.
The Order expelled him, but he had choices. He could have found another path. I don't understand how he became so powerful. Even with Red Lyrium, Samson's glory days are long behind him. I'd be perfectly happy never again setting foot in the Winter Palace. It wasn't the gossip and backstabbing, I know what the game entails, but the indifference to it all.
We ended the stalemate. That's what matters.
In the Winter Palace, the clerics in Val Royeaux were still arguing over who should be divine. Chantry politics may involve less spectacle, but they're just as heated. The Empress rules a country. The divine influences half a continent.
I'd like to know more about the Templars.
What would you like to know?
Sorry about that. Oh, Detrick, wasn't he passing love letters between mages? Who? Samson? He was trying to help mages escape, basically through human traffickers and smugglers, and he didn't quite care where they wound up in a lot of cases. So he may or may not have wound up selling a couple of mages to Devinter slavers, kind of by accident. Was he passing love letters between mages, or was that somebody else? He was always an incredibly sympathetic character in 2, Hawke and Inquisition as well. Samson is a good villain. He's a really good villain. He's menacing, but he's a victim. What he's doing and what he has done is not forgivable, but it is understandable. He's one of those villains where it's you see what led him there, and it's all you can do to stop him, both for the good of everyone around him and then also even ultimately for his own good. Kevin says, oh, Kevin went to see the Batman with his dad this afternoon. Cool. How was it? I've heard all sorts of mixed reviews. It's one of those that I don't know what to make of.
Do Templars take vows? I swear to the Maker to watch all the mages. That sort of thing.
There's a vigil first. You're meant to be at peace during that time, but your life is about to change. When it's over, you give yourself to a life of service. That's when you're given a filter, your first draft of lyrium and its power. As Templars, we are not to seek wealth or acknowledgement. Our lives belong to the Maker and the path we have chosen.
A life of service and sacrifice. Are Templars also expected to give up physical temptations?
Physical? Why... why would you... That's not expected. Templars can marry, although there are rules around it, and the Order must grant permission. Some may choose to give up more to prove their devotion, but it's not required.
Have you?
Me? No. I've taken no such vows. Maker's breath. Can we speak of something else?
That's
Oh,
all I
God.
wanted to know. Thank you.
Eric is like, let's see.
Was there something you needed?
Did you leave anyone behind in Kirkwall?
No. I fear I made few friends there, and my family's in Ferelden.
No one special caught your interest?
Not in Kirkwall.
Eric is going, some more.
I thought we could talk. Alone.
Alone? I mean, of course.
Oh my god. So awkward. I love it. Neither of them know how to speak to any
It's a
person.
nice day.
What?
There was something you wished to discuss.
It's a nice day for an afternoon. Oh my god.
Certainly not the weather.
I assumed that much. I can't say I haven't wondered what I would say to you in this sort of
Oh,
situation.
hello, random guard.
What's stopping you?
You're the Inquisitor. We're at war, and you haven't always seen me in the best light.
Nice day out for an afternoon. Exactly. Kevin enjoyed it. Thought Patterson did a good job. Didn't care for the amount of GD. Okay. The general taking Lord's name in vain type cursing. Gratuitous. Okay, yeah, I get you. Oh no, that'd be so mean. Take him out onto the balcony and say, "Hey, let's be friends." No, what's that mean? Yeah, right. Private talk, random guard. Yeah, right. No. All right.
And yet I'm still here.
So you
Hey.
are. It seems too much to ask, but I want to.
Commander,
Hi, random guard.
you wanted a
Welcome
copy of
back.
Sister Leliana's report.
What?
Sister Leliana's report? You wanted it delivered without delay. Or to your office. Right.
If you need to...
I'm sorry. That was, really nice.
You don't regret
Oh my
it,
God.
do you?
No. No. Not at all.
And another random guard is walking on over. Just say, "Oh, hi, Commander. How's it going? Looks like things are going quite well for you. Anything you guys need?" Oh my god. The guard looking between them both and Sable being really awkward. Oh yeah. Naturally. It's their natural state of being, after all. Alright, so we got some stuff done. We have more stuff to get done. Let's do... Since we promised to do more of our companion quests, let's not do that yet. Could kill some Venatori. We've already done a lot of wandering the world. Should we do the Seeker's Quest? This one's hard. This is probably more of a late game one, combat-wise. So maybe we'll wait for this one for Cassandra. This is going to take us a while. Quite a while. One less Venatori. Measuring... You know what? No. Let's do Measuring the Veil. Then the Josephine thing. Yeah, Kevin, at least he didn't let the interruption dissuade him. Yeah.
I wonder who knows pain has tried the game. It's one who lacks a certain wherewithal. For he knows well a pain with paltry gain. The fool who dares to rhyme Halam Shara. I think that one is just me showing off.
It's just what I heard.
I like Meriden, the bard. Not the bard, technically, the minstrel. The difference.
Inquisitor?
You haven't actually been down in here to the, like, dungeons area. You haven't looked. Let's just wander on through here real quick and just have a look around. See what's down here.
With allies come enemies, and now we have a place to hold them.
Hello there.
Your worship, the cells are ready for the enemies of the Inquisition.
Alright.
Good facilities in Skyhold. Whoever built this knew how to keep prisoners safe but secure.
Okay. There appear to be 3 cells in working order. It's not great. Maybe we can fix that, those collapsed. Oh, hello. Prison structural evaluation. Harder job, this. Structural fractures throughout. A major block shifted. It's settled over an age or more and had the workers shored up and call it stable. I don't recommend rebuilding. We change the weight distribution, it might stress cracks we can't see. I've seen failures like this before. It dams with the pressure of a flood behind them. What caused that in a prison this size, I don't want to know. Structural evaluation for Lady Trevelyan's consideration. Mason Gatsy. Oh, so no, it's fine. There's more cells over here. And over here. Yeah, this is quite the place to be imprisoned. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm sure it's fine. Good lord. Over there, too? Oh, no, that's a way out. That's broken completely open. This one, it's likewise. Oh, here we go. This is an intact cell. Perfect. Perfect. Anyway, before we continue any questing and such, as we wander back upstairs, back to what I was gonna bring up when that Detter mentioned again, sort of by accident, some time ago. The dichotomy or the tension between fatalism on the one hand and determinism on the other, or we might say between divine determinism and let's say this worldly causal determinism, which are 2 very different things. It actually comes down to a fundamental part of my critique of a particular doctrine of free will and providence. Thoughtbot, kill it. Called Molanism. It's the view held by, among many others, William Lane Craig, who, don't get me wrong, is brilliant. He's an absolutely brilliant philosopher, and a great, incredible apologist. But
I should inspect the condition of the trebuchets.
Oh, wait.
It must be calibrated to reach the proper range.
Again? How many times will you be doing that?
He takes the... Oh god, no, he's being Garrus. I got some calibrations. Or Legion Peace Talks. Yeah, let's send Josephine while we talk about this. So, Molanism is the position that God determines those who will be saved and those who will be damned by what philosophers call middle knowledge. Knowledge of what are called counterfactuals of creaturely freedom. In other words, what a creature, or what a person, would do if placed in certain circumstances. God foresees and observes all possible worlds, all possibilities, ways the world could be.
I have requests
and
for information
places
on your
people
lineage from a few
into...
interested parties at the Winter Palace.
Andraste, preserve me. Feel free to use those requests as kindling.
He's taken.
No, I shall take them.
Oh no.
I want to know who pines for our commander. We can use this
Liliana,
to our
no.
advantage.
Liliana,
I'm
no!
not bait.
Hush. Just look pretty.
Oh my god. Oh, Liliana. Anyway. So God uses this middle knowledge of counterfactuals of creaturely freedom, what we would do under certain circumstances, to place us under the right circumstances such that we are saved or damned according to his will. This is an attempt at avoiding, on the one hand, a sort of Calvinistic divine determinism, such that God takes away our free will and forces us to either be saved, to accept him, or to deny him, right? Which would be a sort of injustice on the part of God. The other alternative that this wants to avoid is open theism, the idea that God has no control whatsoever. There is no divine providence as to who is to be saved and who is to be damned. This is, of course, after the early modernists and the Protestant Reformation denied and rejected the medieval synthesis, the Thomistic view, the Anselmian view, the Scotist view, all of these classical views, and they were utterly rejected because they saw them. A lot of the modernists saw them as having too much metaphysical baggage to them, which is important. You should really keep your metaphysical baggage. Do not misplace that and leave it unattended. It's kind of important to understanding how the world works and getting where you're going. In any case, Molanism is an attempt to square this apparent circle. So how? What's wrong with it? My main critique of Molanism, and I might make a video out of this at some point, is, or I may even write this up at some point, is that it takes not the best of both alternatives, but the worst of both alternatives. On the one hand, it makes God entirely responsible for the salvation and damnation of each individual, not ourselves. So God is entirely responsible for placing us into a situation where he knows infallibly what we will do and acts to put us into that situation, and therefore chooses directly, qua Calvinistic double predestination, chooses those who will be saved, chooses those who will be damned, saves those who are to be saved, damns those who are to be damned. Directly, immediately, intentionally. That is exactly what we wanted to try and avoid in the Calvinist side. However, on the other side, it also eliminates, rather than preserves, human freedom. Because if these counterfactuals of human freedom, if God's middle knowledge actually have truth value, if these are in fact true statements, that if I were in situation X, I would behave in manner Y, and this can be known infallibly rather than simply probabilistically. If this can be known infallibly, what this means is that my choice under those circumstances is not just predicted by those circumstances, but utterly dictated by those circumstances. Caused by the circumstances rather than caused by my choices and my intentions. What this means is that in order to try to reject a kind of divine determinism, what we might call providence, such that God directly causes human free actions at the expense of human freedom, we've instead gone to a sort of naturalistic causal determinism, where instead our actions are chosen and determined not by us, but by antecedent material causes based on the situation we find ourselves in. We cannot help but act in the way that we do, in other words. Yeah, it's worse than any other alternative, basically. It's worse than pure Calvinism, it's worse than pure open theism, and it's obviously worse than any kind of medieval synthesis position, something like Thomism, which I don't agree with wholeheartedly. Quite frankly, I'm more of an Anselmian when it comes to the idea of divine providence and free will. But I digress. There's fine, minute distinctions there, both of which are, again, the Thomistic position and the Anselmian position are both way closer to each other than either is to Calvinism, to open theism, or to Molanism. That said, Molanism is acceptable under Catholic theology. For some reason, it hasn't been condemned yet. Okay, fine. You know, I wonder if it'll be my goal in life to get Molanism explicitly condemned. At least by a bishop. Maybe a bishop's council. Man, that'd be a heck of a thing to dedicate my churchy career to. Doubt I could do it. I really doubt I could do it. Modern bishops' conferences are not really in the business of condemning heresies, but it'd be neat. I'd be very proud of myself. Anyway, delicate negotiations. The talks between Ferelden and Orlais took place in Jader, and it was not easy to keep matters from spiraling out of control. King Alistair is no diplomat after all, and had little patience for the endless fanfare. Thankfully, the Orlesians are uninterested in more war, and we were able to smooth the way toward an eventual peace treaty. The king sent along a sword that once belonged to the Ferelden hero King Calnhad, as thanks for the Inquisition helped create. Oh, Kevin, yeah, good point. Not while the Jesuits are in charge. Oh god, I forgot. I totally forgot that Molina was a Jesuit. Yeah, Molanism is a doctrine that originated with the Jesuits. I totally forgot about that. Why is it always the Jesuits? Like a lot of people and a lot of like edgy modernists or edgy anti-modernists, I guess, would say that, well, man, the Jesuits they used to be like super based and really cool back when they were originally instituted and fighting Protestants before they had to be suppressed. No, back then they were Molinists and Jansenists and all sorts of they held to all sorts of, and not just held to, but came up with a whole bunch of doctrines that were like this close to being condemned heresies. Like, oh, they were right there on the line. They were so close. Nah, man. It's maybe we could. I mean, I don't want to give this to Cassandra. That looks so cool. Let's give it to Blackwall. Heck yeah. Aw, man, that looks so cool. Way cooler than his Axe of the Green Idrils. I mean, honestly, it does less damage because he attacks slower. But that's probably fine, honestly. Yeah, that's really cool. That's because it sounds like a weird Rube Goldberg 4D chess god setup type scenario. Interesting theology, though. Yeah, it kind of is. It's first of all, it makes God's power and God's action very distant. Distant in a really weird sort of way. Not even like distant in a I guess you'd say in a primary versus secondary causality sort of way, the kind of thing that a Thomist would have, would put forward, where God's causality is mediated through creatures in a lot of cases. That's different. We need to bring Solus and Dorian here, and Requisition Officer. Okay, what's this? Okay. All right, so we need to bring Dorian. We need to bring Blackwall. We need to bring Solus. Confirm. Okay. Yeah, it also, I mean, this part isn't, I don't think, heretical exactly, but it pulls God away from immediate interaction. An immediate interaction with the world. I promise I will eventually get back to reading Hardened Hightown. I'll get to it. I will. I'm working on it. I'm a couple of chapters in. I need to my microphone, do some recording at some point, middle of the night. I'll do it. I'll do it eventually. Anyway. Here we go. Ah! Blackwall, my friend, you fell out of the sky. Dorian. Walking Bomb or Spirit Mark? Let's go Spirit Mark. Blackwall's good. Solus. Full of the Abyss is cool. But it's basically Veilstrike. Firestorm's really, really cool. Or should we just do cold magic? Yeah, let's just do some cold magic. Nice armor. That's good. Kevin says, I've kind of withdrawn from the previous, the various positions on the issue and reverted to a primitive one. The Bible seems to plainly indicate that we have freedom, so I'm just going to believe in light of that. That, and it's also undeniable. Like, in a strictly logical sense, it is undeniable. The reality of freedom it's truly self-evident. It is incoherent to try to deny it, because in trying to deny our freedom, what we wind up doing is we wind up exercising our freedom by acting as if, or by stating, in other words, by choosing to state that we are not free. We are acting freely. Oopsie. Didn't mean to do that. I'm sorry. I apologize. Heck. Oh no, this isn't right. This is definitely not the right way. I mean, I might as well get to the Astrarium while I'm right here. This is the trap, not just of the hinterlands, especially of the hinterlands, but really of the collection quests in this game. You wander around the semi-open world, the zones. You wander to a new area, or an old area in this case. You wander up to, you're going on your way to something, but then, oh, there's a quest on the way here. Oh no, there's another quest right here. There's another quest thing. It's right there. So let's go to the next quest thing. Oh wait, let's just sidetrack real quick to the next thing, so we can all see the thingy. That one's quite simple and straightforward. Is that a cross one? Yeah, that does go across. Very simple. This is supposed to be the first one that you do. There we go. I kind of want to implement some of these in our D&D, in one of my D&D games. Eudix. Alright. Now with that, we'll go there. Measuring the Veil. Means we need to pass right by these bandits, which means we need to fight the bandits. But we'll do that on the way. It'll be fine. Alright. But yeah, I mean, there is every reason to believe in at least some form of libertarian free will. Libertarian in the philosophical sense, not necessarily in the political sense. They're slightly different, differentiable, whatever. Basically, being able to really choose from within oneself. Excuse me. So yeah, it's undeniable, strictly speaking and philosophically, and it's, as you say, as you indicate, very clearly presented in Scripture. At the same time, God is all-powerful. God is absolutely sovereign. And it is also presented in Scripture that God, to some degree at least, is providential. Determines us to an end. Sorry about the lag. That's weird. All right, we're done. We're back.
We all did.
Right, so at least in some way, it has to be the case that God is also determinative of our actions. And those two things need to be reconciled, and that's been one of the most contentious questions in Christian history. I think Anselm gives the best response. Really. Out of anybody. It's carefully constructed. Not, quite frankly, not all that easy to understand. But that's why I have 2 very lengthy lecture series on the subject. I've got one on his second of 3 philosophical dialogues on freedom of choice. And then I have I have 3 parts. I think it's 3 parts on the fall of the devil, which is the third of 3 parts.
According to my research, the ancient elves may have set up wards near here. If we can find the artifacts they used, it may help strengthen this area against tears.
Cool. So that's what we were looking for here for Solus. And he's there we go. These bandits ain't so tough. Who are you and what are you doing? Mirrors.
Peace. I am no danger to you. My name is Mirrors.
Okay.
By your weapons, I see you come ready for battle. Perhaps we face a common enemy in these demons.
Are you fighting the demons on your own?
Fighting the demons is pointless. There will always be more, and I have no means of closing the rifts. But I have heard of elven artifacts that measure the veil. They may tell us where new rifts will appear. I was not expecting so many demons, however. I believe one of the artifacts is nearby. Can you help me reach it?
Yeah. Well, that's what
Sounds
Solus
worth
is here for, so.
investigating.
Thank you. It shouldn't be too much farther ahead.
All right then.
Joining me. I do not think I could have done this alone.
How do I do this?
How did you come to be here?
I am first of Clan Venen. I left in service of my clan and saw that great tear in the veil on my journey. I know more of magic and the veil than any Shemlin, so I hope to help.
Maharal, Dalen.
We should keep moving.
All right.
We'll need focused magical energy to get by. You, Flatear, can you manage it?
Manuvinen, Dalen.
All right. Yeah, you can. Let's go for it. There we go. Kevin says the scripture says, "I God set set before you life and death." So he is sovereign over the choice, but I think libertarian free will is at odds with sovereignty. I don't think it is. It can't be, because they're both true. And if you take that as a premise, that that God is sovereign and that we are free, then it has to be that the two are reconcilable. That's a friendly.
I believe I sense one of the artifacts of my people.
Cool.
There. If we activate that crystal, it should react to the strength of the veil.
Oh, Mirrors is a novel character? I didn't know that. I didn't realize. Oh, it's the Veilfire. Okay. I did not realize that she was a novel character. Cool. Didn't realize that. Wait, I misread? What did I misread? Let me try that again. The scripture says, I, God, set before you life and death, so he is sovereign over the choice. I don't think libertarian free will is at odds with sovereignty. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. That's what I thought you should have said. I'm glad to hear that you, in fact, did say it. Yeah, so sorry about that. I misinterpreted you. Misread, I guess. But yeah, like I said, I think that Anselm really gets it closest to right.
The wards are helping to strengthen the veil. This area should be safer for travelers now.
Well, that should prove useful. And it seems the ancestors left something for me as well. Interesting. I believe our alliance is concluded. Go in peace, stranger.
Mahalani, Maglandeva, vi Enasali.
Perhaps you're right. Here, take it.
Oh, nice.
Go with Mithal's blessing.
An amulet of power. I'm guessing it's for Solus. No, I don't want to destroy it. Yeah, it's Solus. Okay. Cool. Okay, but yeah, we agree. We agree. And I think it can be that simple. It can be as simple as, well, God says so. That they both have to coexist because they're both true. So, well, it isn't clear exactly why it's the case or how it's the case that both are true, but we know they are, so we have to solve the problem from there. We can't say it's one or the other and not both. It's gotta be both. So, how is that the case? Well, I don't know. Let's figure it out. Let's think this through. Go Blizzard. Blizzard's awesome. And like I said, ooh, I'm floating. There we go. Like I said, I think that Anselm provides the best answer for how this could work. Not the only answer. Because like I said, I think that Aquinas does a good job as well. Even if Aquinas, I think, may go a little bit too far in the direction of determinism. To almost, but not quite to the degree of denying freedom. I wouldn't say quite that, but Evan says, well, if freedom itself is mine to grant, then I seem to be sovereign. Yeah. I mean, that's relatively straightforward. But it does go a little bit deeper than that, and it has to do with the distinction between what the medievals called primary and secondary causality, and they all agreed more or less on this distinction, that God is the primary cause for all things, and therefore is the cause which is fundamentally responsible for our particular choices. Because without God acting to create us here and now in an ongoing sort of a way, in a way that gives us a particular kind of a power to do things, we would not be acting in the way that we are. Because we would not be capable of acting. But our causality, our what they call secondary causality, is just as real, just as morally significant. So we also really do act. That's the really short version. That's common to all of, practically speaking, all of the medievals. The entire scholastic tradition has something like that view, with details and further explanations different between them. We don't need any heroes in this operation. We're being paid to keep things quiet and keep trade away from the East Road. When reasonable, allow targets to flee and spread word of the danger in the area. When such is unreasonable, kill all targets, regardless of colors flown. Okay. Well, that's not good. They're definitely here on orders. From whom? A patrol pattern is non-negotiable. Upon any encounter resulting in injuries, mark trail and withdraw to the villa. We must remain in fighting condition to apply appropriate force and keep refugees clear from the area. Keep refugees clear from the area. That's interesting. Huh. Alright, alright. Villa. Is there a villa? Oh, well, hello. Well, hello. That's cool. Is this just leaving the area, or is this taking me somewhere specific? Nah, it's just leaving the area. Okay, never mind. It's pretty cool, though. Cool view, especially. Alright, so, yeah. Rebel Queen's Ravine. Done. Easy. I'm way over-leveled for this now. I think it might be time to come back to the Hinterlands and start actually doing some Hinterlands quests at some point, because I'm over-leveled now. Memory digs have been more than successful, gives us an advantage, old families... Opportunity. Take the families to make this happen. Dwarven stuff, I take it. Alright. Okay, so. Kevin, I think you're probably right. He says, I think Determinists proposed God as perhaps a Mega Zeus. That's a key problem. Yeah, I think there's something to that. Astrariums have revealed a cave. Alright. Flowers for Senna. That's the thing for Dorian. Let's do this since we're right here. I feel like I keep saying that for, like, almost literally everything. Spirit in the Lake. Ballad of Lord Woolsey. We have to take him all the way back, to Redcliffe, to Redcliffe Castle, which is way up here. I think that might be an escort mission, and it's a huge pain in the ass, but maybe we'll do that. I don't know. I'll think about it. I'll think about it. Anyway. Yeah, it, ironically, determinists, divine determinists, Calvinists and their sort, they...
Liska needs more than those threadbare rags. She's shivering all day long.
I know. I'll find something.
Now there's refugees. Yeah, it's that Calvinists and their sorts, divine determinists, in their attempts to make God out to be all the more absolutely sovereign, they wind up immanentizing God to a great degree. making God far too much like a creature, and at least, if nothing else, competitive with creatures on the level of causality. God's causality and creaturely causality cannot coexist. They can't. They are fundamentally competitive. Bishop Barron has a great talk about, that mentions this sort of thing. I'll see if I can find it. And it's where he talks about God's act of creation, and especially in the context of the burning bush in Exodus, where God's creation, God's presence, say, his here and now very immanentization, let's say, manifestation as the burning bush.
I camped in these hills for 2 weeks when I got here. Me, camping. Should we look around?
Oh, are they gonna go fight over there?
They're
gonna fight, aren't they? Oh, never mind. He already killed his brother. Okay. Templar Corin. In light of the current hostilities, I believe our arrangement is no longer satisfactory. You are unable to reach me with payment, and I have no means of delivering the merchandise to you. I hope that when this unfortunate situation is resolved, we may once again do business. Tenor. Well, all of that's quite unfortunate. So, yeah, I think that, like I said, I think Barron explains this quite well in the context of Exodus, in the context of the burning bush in particular, where the reason, on this reading, the reason that the bush is burned but not destroyed, it is not consumed, it is because God's presence, and therefore God's act of creation, God's being, can exist or coexist in fundamentally the same way, or as fundamentally the same part of a created being, without overtaking or destroying that created being. In other words, God can be fully present in and around and among the bush without the bush having to give way to God's being at all. Similarly, we can analogize this to sovereignty and freedom. God can act through us. God can do things. God can determine our actions without overshadowing our free will. God can act and we can act in the very same action, and we can both be completely morally and causally responsible for that very same action because we're acting in different ways on different levels, so to speak. So there's no competitiveness there. Whereas, like I said, I think that Calvinists and other divine determinists think that God acts in the world in the same way or on the same level as creatures. That we, if God is acting or if God is doing something, then we're not. This is also, I mean, honestly, this is really responsible for, this is the error of all of the five solas. Think in terms of, for example, a parallel example, sola fide, faith alone. That our salvation is through faith alone. No Catholic will disagree with that, but it's also through works. Because faith and works are the same thing, taken in different ways at different levels of being. It's not like faith and works are competing. It's not like you're either doing faith or you're doing works. No, you're doing works faithfully, or you're not doing meritorious works. Yeah, it's both. It has to be both, and they have to be equal and simultaneous. My favorite of this, my favorite example of this is Sola Dei Gloria. Sola Dei Gloria, right? To God alone the glory. Which is generally the Calvinist and, in general, more generally, the Protestant answer or challenge to veneration of the saints. Because they say that all glory is to be God's alone. All veneration and worship is only to be to God. And so that if we are to venerate the saints, God's saints, by the way, then what we're doing is we are taking glory away from God. But that's nonsense. God isn't competing with creatures for glory, for honor, for anything. Literally anything. It doesn't make any sense for God to be competing with creatures for glory. Yes. By glorifying the saints, we are glorifying God. So yes. Sola Dei Gratia, not Gratia, Sola Dei Gloria? Is it just Gloria? I thought it was something beyond. I thought it was something more precise than that. But whatever. I don't remember that one. That one's hard to remember. The Latin for that. Because for some of them, they very clearly have weird terminology. Yeah. And it's late. And I've had a long day.
And Templars are no longer fighting. It's safer to travel now. We should leave.
Anyway. Ooh, nice. We read.
I will stay and put things in order here, then follow you.
We don't talk about it, Mother. If I'm a mage, I have to learn how to defend myself against demons attacking me in my...
So yeah, all of the solas, all of the 5 solas are have the same error, that it takes God to be overly immanent and on the same metaphysical level as us, just bigger. Like you said, a Mega Zeus.
I know it is a long way to go. I know, Mother.
I cleaned Senna's shrine and placed the flowers. May her ashes be gathered by Falundine and carried safely.
After all the long years she carried me, thank you. You do a foolish old man too much kindness. Thank you, friend. May your Inquisition do as much good for the land as you have done for me.
All right. All right. Let's sell all our junk. Oh, we have maximum money. Jeez. Well, that's something we have to go do, is spend all... Well, not all of it. Spend a bunch of it on that mystery box in Valroyo. Let's make sure we do that. But let's challenge this guy over here first. Tanner. That's it. This trader guy. Then we'll lure Dorian to talk to his parents or their messenger or whatever.
Thank you for all you've done.
About how disappointed, or her, I forgot. About how disappointed they are with him.
I found the letter you sent to a Templar named Corin.
What? Shit.
Ha!
You can't prove anything.
That was quick.
A letter from a rogue Templar. Nobody is going to care. So, what do you intend to do?
The Chantry used to drown smugglers who posed as sisters. It's an ugly death. I wonder if they still do that. I could ask around. Or you can put your skills to use for the Inquisition.
Nice.
And you'd keep quiet? Nobody else has to know?
Well.
All right. I'm in. Seems like the Inquisition is the safer bet these days.
All right, we hired her. I honestly did not expect to hire her, but okay. Let's see. Yeah, let's do this. This is a fun one, but it's probably going to give us another 40 minutes of stuff to talk about, because this is a really well done quest, honestly. This is a really well done bit of conversation where Dorian is irrationally angry the whole time, because of course he is. So let's see. Let's check this out.
The place is deserted. Is this normal, or...?
Dorian.
Bush.
Father?
Okay, yeah, Bush. I mean, kind of.
You knew about this? Is that why you brought me here?
I like drama! Oh my god, no! I can't say that. I mean, it's hilarious. I think Dorian might even appreciate it. You know what? Screw it. Let's go for it.
Well, I do like a dramatic showdown.
She didn't know I would be here, Dorian. I apologize for the deception, Inquisitor. I never intended for you to be involved.
Of course not. Magister Parvus couldn't come to Skyhold and be seen with the dread Inquisitor. What would people think? What is this exactly, Father? Ambush? Kidnapping? Warm family reunion?
This is how it has always been.
You went through all of this to get Dorian here. Talk to him.
Yes, Father. Talk to me. Let me hear how mystified you are by my anger.
Dorian, there's no need to.
I prefer the company of men. My father disapproves.
Okay, so I'm going to ask something uncharacteristic because we know why it's an issue, but why else? Because there's more to it. And this is an interesting line of questioning, if I recall.
A big concern in Tevinter, then.
Only if you're trying to live up to an impossible standard. Every Tevinter family is intermarrying to distill the perfect mage, perfect body, perfect mind, the perfect leader. It means every perceived flaw, every aberration is deviant and shameful. It must be hidden.
I'm not going to ask that. Sorry, I'm not going to ask it. But it's, again, it's for marriage reasons. Like, get a beard, Dorian. Like, for real. Propagate your line. Kind of do have that obligation.
Your father might be here to reach out. You could give him a chance.
Let's just go.
Dorian, please. If you'll only listen to me.
Why? So you can spout more convenient lies? He taught me to hate blood magic. The resort of the weak mind. Those are his words. But what was the first thing you did when your precious heir refused to play pretend for the rest of his life? You tried to change me.
I only wanted what was best for you.
You wanted the best for you. Your fucking legacy. Anything for that.
You got a lot off your chest. Can't you give him a chance to do the same?
Tell me why you came.
If I knew, I would drive you to the Inquisition.
You didn't. I joined the Inquisition because it's the right thing to do. Once, I had a father who would have known that.
Once, I had a son who trusted me. A trust I betrayed. I only wanted to talk to him, to hear his voice again, to ask him to forgive me.
All right, so I don't know if they're going to do a neat little summary for us, so I'm going to do it first, and if we wind up being redundant, then we wind up being redundant, and that's fine. So basically, Dorian's dad wanted to put him through magic conversion therapy. Oh, here we go. They're going to talk about it. Never mind. They'll summarize for me. I'll leave it at that.
He says we're alike. Too much pride.
Ha!
Once I would have been overjoyed to hear him say that.
'Cause gay.
Now I'm not certain. I don't know if I can forgive him.
He tried to change you.
Out of desperation. I wouldn't put on a show, marry the girl, keep everything unsavory, private and locked away. Selfish, I suppose. Not to want to spend my entire life screaming on the inside. He was going to do a blood ritual. Alter my mind. Make me acceptable. I found out. I left.
Can blood magic actually do that?
Maybe. It could also have left me a drooling vegetable. It crushed me to think he found that absurd risk preferable to scandal. Part of me has always hoped he didn't really want to go through with it. If he had. I can't even imagine the person I would be now. I wouldn't like that, Dorian.
Maybe if you keep working at it, keep talking.
It was a start, at least. You could have told me. Maybe I wouldn't have gone, maybe I would. How will I ever know? Why didn't you let me decide?
I wasn't trying to deceive you, just to help.
I suppose you did at that. Maker knows what you must think of me now, after that.
Oh, it's your dad. Your dad was trying to help too. You know that, right, Dorian? Like he was actually very genuinely trying to help, very, obviously, clearly. So before we try and resolve this, let's clarify exactly what happened here. So Dorian is the son of a noble family, basically one of the rulers of Demeter. The equivalent of a Roman senator. Because again, Demeter's very Romanesque. And so the line is passed through descent. He is, as far as I know, his parent's only son. And so what this means is, because of his preference for men, the company of men, that means his line is ending. And he can't participate in this familial and cultural tradition of effectively breeding magic, breeding more powerful mages. He's refusing to breed, basically. And so what his father was doing, effectively, is saying, look, you want something other than what you ought to. I don't get the impression here, it's not clear, to me at least, I don't get the impression here that his father was going to do this against his will. I mean, I don't think so. He would have, right? If that had been his intention, he would have done it. His father's far more powerful than he was, as a mage, as a politician as well. So it seems to me that this was basically something that he was, an option, a possibility that he was offering to Dorian. To change what he desired so that he desired that which is useful and beneficial, both for himself, for his family, for his country, and for the good. Broadly, generally, the good. It's essentially, if you think about it, again, objectively speaking, very carefully, it's an offer to alter, to remove temptations to vice and replace it with a kind of rightly ordered desire. That's what we do with moral training, with the training of virtue. That's all we're doing. It's really straightforward, honestly, and it's very clear to me, at least, that his father wanted what was best for him. That said, he approached it probably secretively because he's Tevinter. And that led to Dorian mistrusting him. And this isn't how Dorian sees his sexuality. He sees it as something intrinsic to himself. He sees this as something which is essential to him, not merely accidental. Is that actually? No, I'm not going to say that. He says it as something which is like I said, which is intrinsic to his self, to his identity, rather than something that is an accidental quality. That is something that is a desire, like anything else, right? To use a dumb example, to use a maybe trivial seeming comparison, but I do that intentionally. I prefer coffee to tea. If I could do some magic that would change that, I would have no reason to. But if, for example, it were the case that coffee suddenly became 10 times more expensive and tea became, 10 times cheaper, and I'd really like to save that amount of money, I would, sure, if somebody offered to magically alter my desires so I suddenly prefer tea to coffee, heartbeat, no problem, wouldn't even think about it. Because I would probably try and do that change myself anyway. I'd make that change gradually anyway. If one became substantially more expensive than the other, for example. And so yeah, of course, and that's even just a little prudential judgment. Now, it might seem insignificant by comparison, but that's again how we ought to see our, particularly our generalized sexual desires as well, like this. So, I mean, put it in terms of, you like a certain body type, but you fall in love with someone who has a different body type. Yeah, you can still fall in love with someone who has a different body type than that. Sure, why not? It can happen. And you'll come to see them as attractive as well, gradually. But you can say, well, wow, that could happen instantaneously through some kind of magic. Wow. There's nothing wrong with that. Unless you make it essential to your identity that, I don't know, you're an ass man instead of a boob man or whatever. What? No, stop it. Trying to describe this without getting the stream banned. Depends what you mean this, which didn't exist in medieval times. Sexual identity, as we understand it today, did not exist in medieval times. It didn't exist in pre-modern times. It didn't exist before the late 19th century. That wasn't a thing. There was no notion in any society I'm familiar with, including ancient Greece and Rome, which were known very well for sodomy, of identifying to this degree, or to the degree that moderns do, with one's sexual desires. There were people who were recorded as having a strong preference for men or a strong preference for women, but it was understood to be a preference, not understood to be an identity, ever, by anyone. The only exception to this, and it's a minor exception, is in Plato's Symposium, in the speech attributed to Xenophanes, who was a satirist, who was a comedian, and this was basically Plato telling a joke about the origin of true love, which he was making fun of. He didn't think it existed. And so he was making fun of it by saying, well, some people have a true love of the same sex, and some people have a true love of a different sex. And that was just another element to make it hilarious. Because it would have been hilarious in the context. every element of that whole speech would have been really funny. And if you read it in the proper context, it is genuinely really funny. Hendrik said, I like everything about Dorian's character except for his personal quest. I wish there were more options between other than Dorian fight and condemn his dad versus Dorian fight and forgive his dad. That is true. Yeah, that is true. Yeah. They could have made this more interesting and complex. Detra said, and you said stay in a political marriage and enjoy companionship with men is never even brought up, at least not to my memory. He does, kind of. He says to something like, keep all of the untoward stuff behind closed doors, or something like that, in his way. You know how he does with his mustache. Which implies political marriage, and then just do a bunch of degeneracy behind closed doors. Do whatever the hell he wants in his own private life. He and his wife probably would have an understanding because it's a political marriage anyway. Orlais sure does it. Like, Vivienne, another party member, is a consort of a duke. She's a mistress, basically. Publicly acknowledged as such, and it aids her political position. Okay. Alright, well, I mean, he does consider it, but he thinks it would be, he sees it as living a lie, screaming on the inside, unable to reveal my true self, whatever. And I'm just like, yeah, you're essentializing the accidental. Which is, by the way, a huge problem in I'll just broadly say the modern left, but postmoderns in general, I would say. They confuse the essential with the accidental. They treat the essential as if it were accidental, and the accidental as if it were essential. Things like identification, like subjective identification, things like sexual desire, even things like a lot of times you'll see things like fat being an intrinsic essential identity, so that it's not treated as something that is an attribute that someone can have but that can change without the person fundamentally changing. And then they switch it around and have things that ought to be essential, one's personhood, one's parentage and family, and one's gender, right? And treating those as merely accidental. So it's a weird flip-flops way of understanding ourselves. And it's a big problem. It's a big problem, and we see it right here. We see this as I think a key example of it. And this was remember, this game came out in 2014, which was very early on in the Clown World. I tend to argue that Clown World really kicked off in 2015. That was really when things started to spiral and go exceptionally crazy. But like I said, BioWare's always been a somewhat progressive company, and here they are, the cutting edge of what has become more and more wrong with the world in the interceding 8 years. 8? Yeah, about 8 years now. Eric says, I'm trying to describe this without getting the stream banned. Oh, well. If anything, your comment won't go through. I think that's how that works. Fingers crossed. If I think it'll get the stream banned, I'll just try not to read it, or I'll try and pronounce it differently or something. So it was just a deviant way people sought pleasure, and everyone knew that it was a useless endeavor. It was only for pleasure. Yeah, I mean, basically this entire quest is modern, is postmodern, or modern. You can call it modern. Modern's fine. Modern or postmodern. Modernism started this trend. Late modernism started this trend with Freud, really. But yeah, that same guy, that poet, Xenophanes, is attributed to having said, attributed, it's maybe questionable, but it gives you an impression of, let's say, what Dorian's attitude might have been in a classical Greek or Athenian context. Should I say that? Yeah, it's historical, it's philosophical, it's raunchy, but still. Women for procreation, men for recreation, and cantaloupes for pure pleasure. There you go. That was the idea. That was the idea of sexuality in the classical Mediterranean world. It typified by Athens, by classical Athens, but the same view basically extended to Rome, at least up until the reign of Claudius, probably Claudius Caesar. Kind of started moving things around a little bit and shifting things towards a focus, more of a familial focus, and trying to keep things within the family. I don't mean incest type of thing, but more like if you're going to have an affair, have it with one of your slaves kind of thing. Which is, marginally better. You're stunning and brave, Dorian. Man, I need to fit Dorian into... Oh no, I know where I can fit Dorian. No, I don't want to put him there. I don't. Do I want to put him there? Oh man. I need to put Dorian into my new, into our next D&D game. Into our current D&D game, the Saturday one. Because I had him in a previous one, the Curse of Strahd one, before we were in Curse of Strahd, before we were in Barovia. God damn it. Ban the Thoughtbot again. Erica says make him Théan. Yeah, I could. Damn, I really could. That's not what I was thinking of. I was thinking of the same, more or less the same backstory, but having to do with a quest you guys are probably going to be doing relatively soon. Anyway, let's move on a little bit as we keep going.
I don't know. It was certainly a spectacle.
Oh? I'm so pleased to provide you amusement.
There has to be a reason I keep you around.
Just the one. My wounded pride. At any rate,
and the
time
mustache.
to drink myself into a stupor. It's been that sort of day.
Every good Inquisition needs a mustache like that.
If you've a mind.
Detrick says, that Athens saying, love it. Gotta remember that joke for future pickup lines. Oh no. They'll probably replace the cantaloupe with peaches. Oh no. Hello? Where are you, Dorian? Did you just disappear? Mother Giselle is yelling at you. Where did you go? Oh, here we go. Okay.
What's going on here?
It seems the revered mother is concerned about my undue influence over you.
It is just concern. Your worship, you must know how this looks.
You might need to spell it out, my dear.
This man is of Tevinter. His presence at your side. The rumors alone.
What's wrong with him being from Tevinter, specifically?
They're the bad
I'm fully
guys.
aware that not everyone from the Imperium is the same.
How kind of you to notice. Yet still you bow to the opinion of the masses.
The opinion of the masses is based on centuries of evidence. What would you have me tell them?
She's not wrong.
The truth is I do not know you, and neither do they. Thus, these rumors will continue.
Peaches, oh my god. Kevin said there's some harsh bottom-dragging marketing by the Thoughtbot. Yeah. I don't know if I hope you didn't see that, but I'll reiterate part of the advertising of this nonsense. Here, girls want everyone, even you. Which, like, really? Why would that be? Why would you market like that? I mean, I guess the people who would ever click such a thing are some of the lowest confidence men to have ever been born. So maybe, I guess that's it. I don't know. Gross, though. Pretty gross.
Oh, I'd like to hear what these rumors are exactly.
I could not repeat them, your worship.
Oh.
Repeat them? So you've shared them before.
I meant no disrespect, Inquisitor. Only to ask after this man's intentions. If you feel he is without ulterior motive, then I humbly beg forgiveness of you both.
Well, that's something.
This sort of thing happens often, does it?
More than anyone tells you. No one knows their own reputation.
Until someone helpfully informs them.
There is that. She meant well, if that's of any concern. I should ask, do the rumors bother you?
I wish they wouldn't disparage you. They don't know you.
They know
Be protective.
you even less than they know me. Perhaps it's odd to say, but I think of you as a friend, Inquisitor. I have precious few friends. I didn't think to find one here. Don't speak. I detest confessions, and I'd like to get this over with. Allow me to say I'll stand beside you, against Corypheus, my countryman, or spurious rumor, so long as you'll have me.
Aww. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, Detrick. Why does Mother Giselle hate Tevinter's? How prejudiced is that? Now let me justify Tevinter's institutionalized slavery and rebuff an Inquisitor who challenges me on that. Speaking of which, let's see if we can get him to do that
Business, the Winter Palace.
right now.
You saved an empress, and now she's eating out of your hand. Perfect mental image. All this dancing, politics, and murder makes me a bit homesick.
Happy to oblige. A taste of home, just for you.
Unfortunately, we didn't bring him.
Fun for the whole family.
Perhaps I should have invited some.
We were there. That's what counts. I hope you tried the ham they were serving, by the way. Tasted of despair. It's fascinating.
That again? The Anderfell's despair ham? Kevin says, all I did was wear a different shirt the other day at a work meeting, and like 4 days later, women are still complimenting me on how nice I looked. Well, I'm like a 6. Confident isn't hard. I mean, it is if... I mean, I don't know. Look, it depends on your temperament. And it also depends on depends on a lot of things, like what you grew up believing about yourself as well. I always learned, mostly from my parents, but also just kind of picked up that other people's opinions of me didn't matter, because what do they know? I know better than they do about me. And their opinions clearly don't matter, because my opinion of myself is extremely high. I know that I'm awesome. And if they think otherwise, then who cares what they think? They're not as awesome. It's basically my attitude since I could think. I mean, I've refined it a little bit over the years. Not exactly my attitude right now, but to this day, but close enough. Close enough. I've added a little aspects of Stoicism, which I've got a lecture on. It's one of my earlier lectures on the channel, which I think is can be unbelievably helpful for confidence in the face of rumors and disparagement and stuff like that.
I'd like to ask you about Tevinter.
Ah, yes. Everyone outside the Imperium always seems quite fascinated by it. Probably why they come up with so many ridiculous tales. Flying cows over Minrathous. That's madness. All right, that one's actually true, but the cows didn't have wings. I digress. Anything in particular you wanted to know?
Corypheus is a figure out of Tevinter history.
Okay.
He was a magister.
Yes, but that was a different time. The Imperium's power was at its peak then. The Civil War had ended. The Magisterium was united, its armies scooping up bits of Thedas like candy. The Magisters who entered the Black City. It was a demonstration of how exceptional Tevinter had become.
But who were they?
No one knows. There's no record of a Magister named Corypheus. All this happened 1400 years ago, before the Blight nearly wiped us out. There are no records. Today, people half believe it's all just a story. That's what I believed.
We have evidence the story is very much real.
But not who Corypheus is, if he even remembers. There used to be families who claimed some of those magisters as their own. That stopped when the Chantry appeared. Then it was shameful, and the families distanced themselves from the tale. All we know is that some men and women entered the Black City looking for the old gods. What did they find? According to Corypheus, nothing. And only he could tell us more.
Speaking of, so let's ask a little bit about slavery while we're at it. Actually, you know what? No, we'll have to come back to that because there is something else I wanted to do. There's a couple of other minor side quests that I want to do first. In Valrio, in fact. One being Josephine's thing. The other being spending way too much money on the thing, on that mystery item. Let's bring Sarah. Let's bring Cassandra. Let's bring Vivienne. Weird group. But we're going to Valrio to just sort of hang out. And I want Sarah and Vivienne to bicker. That sounds like fun. Yeah, I want to spend way too much money on the box, on the thing, and I got 12 minutes at this point. I think that's enough to do the thing with Josephine, for Josephine. That's only a couple minutes, and because I think it's only just like one cutscene and a conversation, and then buying the object of great value. I don't think that should take too long. It's just that, again, it's like I said, it's just those two things. Then we can probably wrap for the night. And next time, like I said, we'll probably pick up with more side quests because good lord, do we have a lot of them.
Those who oppose thee shall know the wrath of heaven.
The palm yet at bolt. The apples change taste
When it all cleared, she was still in
depending
charge.
on stuff.
What was the point? Yes. What do you want?
Okay. Let's go. Oh, there's Josephine. Here we go. Let's see.
Do you know where this noble wanted to meet us?
I do.
Oh yeah, it is a girl squad. I didn't even notice.
To his mansion, not far from here. I pray he clears up the deaths of my messengers, as promised.
Yeah, I didn't actually even notice this was the all-girl squad before I selected. Just because in the context of Thetis, it's not weird. Women have a lot of institutional and political power and have the capability of doing stuff in a lot of ways that is very different from real world history in most contexts.
Lead the way.
So yeah, I didn't even, honestly, weirdly, I didn't even notice. It's like the girl power, like pseudo girl power moment at the season 2 finale of The Mandalorian, where it's the squad of Fennec Shand, Bo-Katan, and other Mandalorian chick, and Cara Dune, all being badasses, and it's the 4 of them, and they're all women, and it just is. There's no attention drawn to it. It just kind of is. Unlike the cringy scene from Endgame.
Welcome, my friend.
That was real cringy. Where it's like the women Avengers had their superpower pose moment.
Please, sit. It's an honor to assist 2 such distinguished guests.
We appreciate your help, Comte.
The death of Lady Montily's servants must weigh heavily on you. Have you heard of the House of Repose?
The Assassin's League?
My contacts obtained a copy of a document in the archives. Contract for a life.
The House of Repose is hereby sworn to eliminate anyone attempting to overturn the Montiliers' trading exile in Orlais.
They're not just after your messengers, Josephine. They'll try for you, too.
I am afraid so, yes.
The contract was signed by a noble family. The Duparquets.
But the Duparquets died out as a noble line over 60 years ago.
Indeed. But the contract was signed 109 years ago.
How can a family try to kill you after they died out?
The Duparquets were a rivals. They drove the Montiliers from Val Royal. This contract was drawn up over 100 years ago, but it wasn't invoked until I tried to overturn my family's exile.
Unpleasant though it may be, the House of Repose is merely fulfilling its contractual duties.
Patrick says, I pray for the fool who goes against Ming-Na Fennec. Honestly, my favorite role of hers was Agent May in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And especially in that role. Holy crap. Like, she's got her badass moments as Fennec Shand, but not like Agent May. No, nowhere near to the same degree.
If the people who wanted your family dead are gone, why are the assassins still after you?
A contract is a contract, Inquisitor. Our Legion businesses live and die by their reputations. The entire guild's welfare would be endangered if an agreement was tossed aside on a whim of time or fate.
She's quite right, Your Worship. The House of Repose is doing what it feels necessary, by its standards.
I assume you have a thought or two on this, Josephine?
The Du Paraquets still have descendants under the common branch. If we elevate them to nobility, a Du Paraquet could annul the contract on my life.
That will take time, Lady Montilier. Time during which the House of Repose will be obliged to hunt you.
Will they now? You are exceedingly well informed. You're not to have said you'd heard rumors, at best.
A bit of subterfuge. This contract on your life is an ugly business. One the House of Repose deeply regrets. But this is Orlais. Even an assassin's word is his bond.
Does Comte Boisvert actually exist?
Absolutely. The Comte's offer to reveal the killers of Lady Montilier's messengers was genuine. So was his information somehow. An end to be tied up later.
I'm guessing the actual Comte Boisvert met with a fatal accident.
Comte Boisvert
I love
suffered
Orlais
in a
sometimes.
nearby closet. Nothing more. The contract on Lady Montilier's life is so unusual, we felt the courtesy of an explanation was in order.
It is appreciated, monsieur.
Your idea to seek out the Du Paraquet to revoke our orders is an interesting one. I wish you luck. I did not come to shed blood today, Inquisitor. Only to speak. Might I pass?
Why warn us about your contract and let us go?
In Orlais, it is only decent to inform those involved in a contract when extraordinary circumstances conspire.
And the guild's reputation would suffer if you ignored the contract. I quite understand.
Thank you, my lady. May we conclude with my departure?
Yeah, there's no use in attacking him, really.
Go then.
Good day, Your Worship. My lady, I pray we'll never meet again.
Well, I didn't think our meeting would end like this.
We'll deal with these assassins.
I have some thoughts. Let's discuss them back at Skyhold.
Start with that next time, I think.
The castle's walls around me.
Do you hear something?
Oh, goodness. Comte Boisvert, is that you? The lock's been broken off. We'll find a saw. I realize the cabinet is quite valuable, Comte, but surely... A locksmith, then?
Affirmative, muffled yelling. Oh god, no, I don't want to go to like the Skyhold. What is this? No! I need to stay in Valrayo. It's very important. Fine, I guess we'll start next time with that. Detrick said, not to get tangenty, I'm always tangenty. But Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was so good. Every actor gave it their all. Ming, Clark, Ian Henry. It was one of the few modern shows with an ensemble cast absolutely worked. Yeah, I can't agree more. What was his name? The guy who turned out to be a Hydra. The agent who turned out to be Hydra. Then who became Hive. Well, he died and became Hive.
Inquisitor.
I cannot remember his name. He was so good in that show. Like, that's where I first saw him. Also also he was the name I actually remember properly is Mike from Until Dawn. That guy. He was so good in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like, honestly, the whole cast was fantastic, and they worked so well together. But man, that had some really standout performances and some really cool plot lines that just kind of didn't go places because they abandoned the whole "it's all connected" thing. Because they realized that they didn't want to have to commit to people watching a TV show. Grant Ward, that's his name. Thank you. They didn't want to have to commit to people watching a TV show to make sense of the films, and you'll notice they're doing exactly the same thing now for the MCU Disney Plus shows. Like, show was good up until right after Winter Soldier. Yeah, and that was like season 1. And it's really just because the Russo brothers had no idea. Honestly, it seems like they had no idea that the show even existed, and they didn't integrate it into anything at all. And the plot line for Winter Soldier just they're going, and then just merged right in front of them, and then drove Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. straight off the road. It split off from the original concept and got dumb. Yeah, there were some dumb moments with the Inhuman stuff. There were some dumb moments in the space thing, in the Sent into the Future bit. Although that was kind of cool. It was a really cool concept. That was the part where the concept was very cool and the execution was okay. It also implied that in an alternate timeline, Thanos got to Earth and Graviton just kind of crushed him into a bug. Crushed him like a bug. After destroying the Earth. Or while destroying the Earth. I don't know which. But yeah, that was a cool implication there. Because it ended right about the time of Infinity War. Yeah, I thought it was, again, I thought the show overall was very good. But yeah, I am disappointed that it got sidetracked that bad. And there wasn't the kind of planning there should have been. Anyway, like I said, I liked it. I thought it was great. And honestly, they're doing kind of the same thing with the current shows. Like, you'll notice that, yeah, there's big events happening and stuff, but the status quo is the same at the start and end of each of the major shows. WandaVision, Wanda starts off depressed, powerful, with Vision dead. And she ends depressed, powerful, with Vision dead. With hope for him coming back. Both times, beginning and end. Falcon and the Winter Soldier, we have Falcon having just received the shield and being apprehensive about it, but accepting his role as Captain America. At the end of the show, we have Falcon, now Cap 2 Electric Boogaloo, accepting his role as Captain America. Now, the only thing that's changed is he has a cool new costume, which they could have just done off screen. Loki, the show started with the implication that there is a multiverse and ends with the revelation that there is a multiverse now. I don't know. I have other major critiques of Loki. If you haven't seen them yet, I'll throw that in the description as well. I'll put it also in the Discord if you're looking in the media channel. Because again, I have some serious thoughts about Loki, and especially their sort of the philosophy of time travel and the philosophy of time involved in there. But yeah, I mean, it's understandable. You don't want to have everybody follow absolutely everything to make sense of the movies. But I digress. Anyway, I don't know how I got on that tangent. Oh, Ming-Na Wen, that's right. But otherwise, like I said, we will start off next time talking to Josephine, and then actually getting the frickin' too expensive box in Valrio. That's what we're going to start with next time. That was my intention to start with this time, but we got distracted by Cullen. So, that happens. That happens in Dragon Age Inquisition. When you're trying to romance somebody else, and then just Cullen's right over there. You just can't do it. Anyway. Oh, gosh. Anyway. Thank you all for joining me tonight. I had a great time. side questy stuff and talking about some really, really fascinating topics, check the description after the stream is over for some related materials and references and things like that. I should have some good things in there. Otherwise, I will hopefully, assuming we aren't doing anything else. It's around it's Saoirse's birthday this weekend, so we've got a lot of stuff going on. I am still planning on streaming Monday night, going back to Greedfall. If that doesn't happen, if it looks like it's not going to happen, I'll post it on Facebook, both on my personal page and on the Professor McCoy page, and I'll let you guys know in Discord as well if I have to delay or anything like that, if I'm going to be late or whatever. As of now, it looks like we're on schedule as planned. It is spring break next week. I am going to be doing a lot of grading, but otherwise, I hope to see everyone then. Thanks again. There we go. Oh, okay. All right. Good night, everybody. See you next time.